Right. We live.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, that's where everybody at.
Yeah.
You getting the haircuts? Yeah. And upstairs.
I'll get that stuff, yeah, for sure.
Getting screenings because it's a line for screenings.
Wow.
Somebody
Take a
support.
chance to go.
Oh, I ain't even got the clicker. Where the clicker? Is that?
I didn't golf with him last second.
Well, okay.
Yeah, so we'll just jump in a little less formal, smaller crowd. But hey,
Please feel free also, because it's a smaller crowd, ask us as many questions as y'all want.
Okay.
Y'all not holding up anybody's time. So
any entrepreneurs before we get started?
Nonprofit.
Okay, we work with you guys too. All right.
Awesome. So let's go back to the beginning. Actually, this should have been like the reverse order, so we're gonna go here first. First and foremost, my name is Timothy Roberts Jr.
Desmond Stanley.
And we are the owners of the Incubator CLE, which is a digital marketing company that we founded actually in 2019.
September 2020.
September 2020. You're right. September 2020. We specialize in a plethora of different marketing strategies and tactics for all the clients that we have. We have clients from political figures to sports figures to anybody who's an entrepreneur or has a business that's looking to uplift their business in any way, shape, or form. So we do things from podcasting, videography, photography, social media management, all of those types of things. And so that's really what we do, just on a general basis. Liz, you want to add anything?
No, I mean that's a great intro to the brand. Like you said, digital marketing. Work with a wide wide variety of different industries. Insurance, Greater Cleveland Community Credit Union. That's one of our clients. Shout out to the CEO over here. But yeah, right now, social media management is our main service, along with website design. 2023, it's hard to have any type of organization without a digital presence, because when people hear about you, they're gonna go look you up on Google. People my age, our age, they're gonna go look you up on Instagram, TikTok, even YouTube. So it really in 2023, it's hard to have any type of organization without those things. Real quick, my background, my degree is in accounting, so that's I've been full-time with the business for a year now, so this is all I do, digital marketing, helping small business owners. Been a year, but like I said, my degree is accounting. Played football at Lake Erie College out in Painesville, and that's real basic. I'll leave it at that.
Absolutely. My name is Tim Roberts again. My background is actually political science. I graduated with a political science degree when I was an undergrad. Do a ton of public advocacy work. Right now, I currently serve as the Community Engagement Director at Union Miles Development Corporation over on the southeast side of Cleveland. Before that, I was doing marketing for Famico's Foundation, which is a little bit closer to this side, in Ward 7 and beyond. And so I have a ton of work and experience within the city of Cleveland, just doing a ton of nonprofit work and just getting involved with the community overall. I played football as well at Lake Erie College with Desmond. I actually known Desmond since I was about 10 years old. We went to the same elementary/middle school together, and then we sort of separated for high school, and then we ended up going to the same college. And how we actually met up was, or how we reconnected actually after college, was when I was doing some community cleanups. I had always known Des to be a hustler. I had always known Des to be an entrepreneur. I had always known Des to try to figure out another way to sort of make some income on the side, and it's something that had always interested me. So what I did was I found somebody that was like-minded, and I said, hey, listen, let's figure out how we can work something out. So I was hosting community cleanups. He came to a few, and conversation sparked out of nowhere, like, hey, you want to start something up? And we didn't even know really what we wanted it to be at first. We just knew that we wanted to be a resource to others, which is how a lot of entrepreneurship starts. You see a gap or a break in whatever's going on in society, and you say, hey, listen, I want to be able to fill that void. I want to be able to fill that gap. I have something productive to bring. And so that's what we did with the Incubator CLE. I didn't even say it. I'm going to law school in the fall at Loyola in Chicago. And so we're expanding. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're expanding our network day by day. Wherever we have reach, different cities, different locations, we try to make sure that we take our resourcefulness with us, and that's what we'll be doing with Chicago. We have the Incubator CLE, of course, but we also have the Incubator in Houston. We have the Incubator Dallas. We have Incubator DMV, Denver, Miami,
Columbus.
and so our reach is really wide. But because that's strictly because of the type of services that we provide. Of course, doing digital marketing and creating digital platforms and doing social media for different people and different organizations, we really don't have to be there in person that often. Of course, we may need to fly out somewhere to get some content sessions in and be able to grab a month's worth of content while we're meeting with various clients. But beyond that, it's a pretty stationary business that we run. And so we want to make sure that when we talk to you all about entrepreneurship, that we're not letting you think that it's sort of a one-sided thing. There's many avenues that you could go. And there's different risks and rewards that come with each one, but we'll touch into that a little bit
It could
later.
be digital. You could have brick and mortar. We've had both.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what he's sticking to.
These are some examples of some clients that we have here. We have Councilman Richard Starr in Ward 5, the Crispy Chick, which is over in the Central neighborhood. We have Cabbage Famillo and Durkin Law Firm, which is actually over on East 9th, right?
At the same building as ours.
Same building actually is our headquarters. We have Stanley Jackson, who is a lead attorney or a partner for the Cochran firm here in Cleveland. And then we also, for fun, because we also love football and sports, the Lutheran East High School football team is actually one of our clients as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, diving in. What is entrepreneurship? You know, anyone want to take a guess, my man? You got the nonprofit. What does entrepreneurship mean to you? Not to put you on the spot, though.
That's fine.
Oh no.
I
Oh yeah,
told
you
my
can,
best-
you
go
can
ahead,
answer
go
No,
too.
he's the one that has a nonprofit. You have this.
Yeah.
You have a business. Is it a nonprofit?
One is community
Okay.
development for
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. What does entrepreneurship mean to you, if you don't mind us asking?
For me, it means family sufficiency and security, where we don't rely on necessarily another organization to determine our family's path. It allows me to create a legacy for my children and grandchildren, and it creates an opportunity for income streams, multiple income streams. So even though I'm employed at Cleveland Clinic, I'm employed for healthcare benefits, because that can be, as an older person, cost prohibitive. So I work for healthcare benefits, but our family businesses create opportunities for my daughters and my grandchildren. So stability, security, and opportunity.
Amazing. Love that.
Definitely. I agree. A common phrase, entrepreneurship, is you jumping out of a plane and building your parachute on the way down. You know, it's a constant battle. It's a constant fight. There's gonna be ups and downs, but we'll get into it. So, which one?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take the risk. You can take the benefits.
So the benefits, you just mentioned financial independence. You want to build a solid foundation for your kids, your grandkids, something that they possibly could take over, you know, when they get old enough. Personal fulfillment. I mentioned I was an accountant, you know. I worked with the city of Cleveland finance department. I worked at a private accounting firm here in Cleveland. I just wasn't happy, you know. I'm 27, I was making decent money, it's reliable, it's safe, it's all of that good stuff, but my heart wasn't in it, you know, so I had to leave to have the personal fulfillment here. I had to fulfill my passion, the flexibility. That's part of why I love it. I can do what I want, I can, you know, meetings whenever, I can work on any type of project, I can work with any type of business I want, and yeah, overall, control over your own destiny. I can work as hard as I want to get where I want to go, or I cannot work and have those consequences. That's the bullet you got to take when you choose entrepreneurship.
For sure. Now, the risks, they pretty much all, for the most part, outside of maybe one or two, run together. So, of course, you have the financial uncertainty. You eat what you kill. Of course, that's sort of the theory of entrepreneurship. You have to go out and get clients. You have to go out and make yourself presentable, and people have to sort of people have to invest in you when they decide to take in your services. And so then you also go into personal and professional stress because there's so much financial and other types of uncertainty involved with entrepreneurship overall, right? If you don't necessarily know the way that you're going to make enough money to cover rent for your home, let alone wherever your brick and mortar location is for your business, then of course that's going to provide some type of stress, especially if you have various dependents or you have other things that you have to worry about that also need to be paid for and taken care of. You have the time commitment. Being an entrepreneur is a lot of times takes up more time in your life than having a full-time job. Mostly because of the fact that you have to build something as opposed to walking into something. And then you have potential failure. Of course, that's one of the risks that you run with trying to create something for other people to consume. There's not a guarantee that other people will like it. Let's just use it as an example. If you have a clothing line or somebody that you know has a clothing line, right? Just because you think that a style or something or a design of something is dope doesn't mean that whoever you want to consume that product thinks that same way. And so you have to be able to use your risk analysis and understanding what type of avenue you want to go into when it comes to entrepreneurship because of these risks.
We'll just kind of go through this quickly. So entrepreneur mindset, we've kind of touched on it. I like to use a phrase, you got to be built different. You know, you can't just, it takes a different type of person to really like do this. Like literally, as he just said, you eat what you kill. Like if I don't go get it every day, I can't pay my bills. I don't have my salary anymore. I don't have like benefits. Like you mentioned, we're hiring people. I'm trying to see what benefit packages are gonna work for the company if we can afford it. I looked at one, it was like $900 per employee, like quarterly, or I don't even know. It wasn't just a one-time thing. So these are all the types of things you gotta work through, the struggles. We didn't even touch on it. Our first location, we had a 3,300 square foot event space in downtown. That's how we first opened, September 2020. Had no idea what we were doing. You know, at the time I'm 24, I think
I was 22.
22, had no idea. Just jumped out of the plane. We knew we wanted to help small business owners and entrepreneurs. That was our goal. Everything's going smooth. You know, we got events every weekend. We're booked months in advance. Everything's going well. Something out of our control happened, and we got put out of the space. Our neighbors were doing some stuff they had no business. They got in trouble. The landlord was getting pressure. He's like, all right, everybody got to go. So what do? We had to pivot. Again, it goes back to the entrepreneur mindset. We could have just said, you know what, we're going to take this L. It didn't work. You know, he's on the law track. I have my accounting degree. We could have just said, yo, we tried it. It didn't work. No, we pivoted. What can we do now to make money? That's where we pivoted to the digital marketing, started investing into our own personal brands, our own personal content, and that's how we got here now. So that was probably a little over a year now. So like I said, I've been full-time for a year. When we lost the space, we were both still working. But yeah, the resilience, you got to be able to adapt. These are all critical as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of it, just to use some terminology for the Greeks that we have in here. Of course, being an entrepreneur, you have to be able to grit through it, right? You have to be able to grit through the hard times. You got to be able to grit through the inevitable backsteps that you'll be facing as an entrepreneur. But you have to be able to endure, and you also have to be able to execute. And so those are
test of a man definitely comes to mind
for sure. So you can take the
the basics, starting a business. What is your business idea? Most businesses are created from you identifying a problem and you've come up with a solution to that problem, or it's just an interest that you have. So our business, we identify small business owners, entrepreneurs, young like ourselves. They needed a place to go and, you know, work on their brand. So at our space, we had offices that we rented out to local entrepreneurs. We subleased offices. They hosted their events at our location. And we were also able to help them with things like business plans, researching their market, which is something you have to do. You got to know what the other people are doing in your industry. And then also choosing a business structure. This is very high level, so we're not going to get into the differences, but you know, you got your LLC, you got your sole proprietorship, C Corp.
LLP.
Yes, so there's different things. As you're building this plan and coming up with your idea, these are the types of decisions you're going to have to make. You know, is it going to be just you? Are you going to have a partner? Are you going to bring in investors? There's a lot of different things you can do. So
Absolutely. And then just general tips. Of course, you want to be able to start a business based on your personal skills. A lot of times, because of the fact that you are going to be creating a product that has to be consumed by other people, you have to become what I would consider an expert in whatever it is that you are trying to sell, which goes right into the constant education aspect of everything as well. You have to be willing to constantly educate yourself on whatever product or services that you're providing so that you can continue to stay abreast of the services that you're giving to other people to consume. And so you have YouTube to pull from, you have books, you have other people who are in your same type of business that you can talk to who may have more experience than you to be able to figure out a way to help your business run more efficiently. So,
any YouTube question?
yes, sir.
So, I'm loving what I'm hearing from you, young brothers, first of all.
Crazy, sir.
I find oftentimes the research piece, when people want to go into business, is often lacking that marketing plan.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about your current success as a result of the marketing investigation, research that you did into the platform that is making you money right now? Because most people who go into business, they got a great idea, in their mind they say it's going to work, but they've done none of the marketing research to find out where they want to be located, the place, that's platform. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. So that's actually the first thing that we paid attention to before we actually opened up for business. We figured out a way to make our businesses or our business as recognizable and as accessible as possible. So we made Instagram pages, but we also hit up people who had Instagram pages with large followings to let them know that we were sort of on our way, letting them know that, hey, like this new business is about to be here. But then also, Des is like a marketing and internet and technology whiz, in my opinion. So the first thing that he did once we actually created our business through the state, he made sure he went on Google and he made sure that anytime you typed in the Incubator CLE, that our website was the first one or two websites to be popping up on Google when people decided to search us. So that was the second thing. And then the third thing I would say probably helped us out the most, which is a little bit informal, but the first thing that we did, especially because we were young, fresh out of college, I was new to Greekdom and I had a ton of friends back in the city. We threw a huge party. But when we threw the party, we made sure that we had business cards, and every single person that came through the door, the ticket to get into the party was actually a business card for them to be able to reach out to us. And we unveiled everything that we had as far as our amenities at that point, at that first like grand opening / party. And so everybody who came in, we had a photo studio. Everybody went in and got a free picture as soon as they came in. And then we had a beauty space. We had a beauty room. So women who did makeup or did hair, they had access to the beauty room. We made sure they showed that off on their way in as well. And then they got a chance to walk into the event space. And so we sort of gave them a grand tour of everything that we had to offer as the Incubator CLE before they even got a chance to really go out and kick it and party. And we got so many clients from that alone. So many of the people that we had as clients, especially that got us through that first year after we ended up leaving our event space, a lot of those clients were saved because of the fact that we marketed and networked immediately, right? So as soon as we opened up, we marketed and we networked, but then also we made it a point to do free work for larger organizations. And so organizations like the Cavs, organizations like the Browns, like the Monsters, the sports teams, and then also doing work for other event spaces and other influential people, doing work for free for them, made our name more recognizable in those types of circles, so that anytime we had an opportunity to be able to receive new clients, or they had clients and they didn't have the services that we had, but they knew of us, they would send them right to us, which has helped us out a lot. And so, does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay, thank you.
You gotta have.
Please.
I was just gonna say, I mean, long story short, you gotta have a strategy.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really, like you said, they don't even do it. That's because they don't have a plan. Like, you can't do something. I could say, my goal is to make $1 million this year. That may sound cool to you, but to me, it's like,
Gotta break it down.
I can't just say that. How are you gonna do it? So for me, I know if I go sign 30 clients paying $2,800 a month for the whole year, I will see $1 million that year. Like, I know my numbers, I know my plan, I know where I need to get. Another thing, and then question, your personal brand.
Yes.
We don't spend any money on marketing. All of our clients has come from organic,
Yeah.
word of mouth, referrals, our personal Instagrams. Like, we're getting to the point now, we just have built out a sales team. So right now we got like 6 or 7 people on our sales team. So now we are buying leads and that type of stuff. But up until this point, we've not spent any money on marketing. We've invested into our personal brand, and that is where we get our clients from.
So when you talk about new media, like Instagram or TikTok, let's call it legacy social media,
Mhm.
Facebook and Twitter.
Right.
How do you keep up with technology that seems to change in real time? Whether it's Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok or whatever the next big thing is, how do you keep on top of that? And then how do you know what you don't know?
I'll start. As of right now, what helps me out tremendously is doing work with younger clients, because a lot of times what you'll find, especially if you're just an observant person, you recognize that whatever trends they're following may not be the ones that you're into, but they're the ones that are consuming most of whatever content is out there. And a lot of time, because content and social media stuff starts with younger people and then it transitions upward, if you catch it with the younger person, then 9 times out of 10, you'll be right on time when it comes time for your client to be able to buy into something. And you'll be able to show them by that time different logistics that will come with it. Because the worst thing that you want to do is do something where you pay for a subscription or you end up signing up for a subscription for a social media platform, because there's a ton of them out there right now that doesn't bear any fruit. And you end up wasting time, which is something that you try to mitigate as an entrepreneur overall. So you try to make sure that you manage risks accordingly. And the best way to do that is to try to catch things early, try to play with it yourself first, and then figure out if it's something that it will be valuable for you to bring to your clients.
You gotta be constantly self-developing. Like, me personally, I'm obsessed with digital marketing. I rarely watch TV. I watch YouTube. I got a 58-inch in my room. I watch YouTube. I watch Gary Vee. I know the main players in my industry. I'm constantly feeding myself. Sure, how many of you have heard of ChatGPT? Right, but have you taken that next step? Like, so I feel like I'm ahead of the game with ChatGPT because of the research and the, like he mentioned, the practice. I'm implementing these new systems into my life, into our business. I'm helping our clients with new technology. That's how you stay abreast with everything that's happening. It is constantly changing. But with more activity, you get more access. Like on Instagram, I'm in a group chat with, what's the guy who created it? Facebook. Zuckerberg. Yeah, so there's a huge group on Instagram. Mark Zuckerberg is in there. Other huge names, and they're dropping like, yo, I could pull it up on Instagram. He just announced today, like, hey, we're doing these new features. They're rolling out. They're in Australia this week, but next week they're coming to the United States. Like, me being active is how I get into those channels and networks. And again, networking.
You gotta do it. You gotta roll.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Of course.
You could skip through that. Yeah, so financing a business. There's multiple ways. My guy TJ, he spoke on credit earlier, so we won't dive too deep into it. But this here is talking about loans. Now, personally, you may have a negative perception of loans. When it comes to business, it's pretty common. You may have to get a loan to really be successful. But it's not a necessity. If you look at this graph here, it's comparing the difference between people who have applied for financing and those that did not apply for financing. And we can send this presentation out, but basically it's letting you know it's not a requirement. You don't have to go out there and borrow to start a business. Tim and I, literally, we rode around downtown Cleveland. We found locations that had the for lease sign up, and we called them and said, hey, what do we need to do to get into this spot? Again, I'm 24. I was 24 at the time. He's 22. We had no idea what we're doing, but hey, we dove in. And now, at some point, we did get investors.
That was later on down the line, though. We were already established, because another thing that happens with investors, especially for early businesses, you have to have proof of work. Nobody's going to want to invest in you if you don't show that it's possible for them to get a return on that investment. And so that's where that proof of work had to come in. So I want to say when we got our first investor, I want to say we were maybe 5 or 6 months in. And so with that, we were just shaking and moving. And again, they told us exactly what was necessary for us to be able to receive those funds from them, which is sort of what this is honing in on. Every single time you are seeking money from somebody else, there's different stipulations and criteria to receive that money. So just because we got money from an investor who runs X organization doesn't mean that it's going to be the same criteria for the others. And so you have to keep that in mind. Generally, when you're working with banks, they ask for the same things. But if you are not trying to take the route of having legal issues over your head at all times, then you have things like angel investors and crowdfunding that you can sort of rely on to help fund your business initially, and then you can go the logistical route. Go ahead.
We're going to skip through. I know it's the end of the night. Any questions right now?
So in terms of what advice would you give for a company or a young company when you begin to think about investing, right? So if investors put up such amount that you want to be mindful that you don't end up receiving so much money that they end up owning your company. What are some of the pitfalls or advice that you would give?
So contracts. I'm not sure if you were in here earlier, but I'm going to law school in the fall. And that's sort of one of the highlights and the reasons why I want to go is because I know that whatever it is that I want to do in my life, even if I don't want to work in the legal field specifically, I can learn so much from being able to understand fully what the power of a contract is. And contracts have saved us tremendously. And so I would say make sure, first and foremost, that you have a extremely valid contract in place. Have it be looked over by however many people you can. Make sure that that contract is tried and tested, because that's what's going to essentially outline the ownership and whatever comes with the grant of the loan that you're receiving or the investment that you're receiving from somebody. And so, and then also, I will say real quick, bro, understand that you should have a certain amount of pride in what's yours and what you've built. That's what saves a lot of people, because a lot of times people get so wild with the dollars that come attached to whatever type of investment is being given to them that they lose sight of their baby in the business. And so I would just say, don't lose track of the fact that it's your business, one, and two, make sure that you have great contracts in place.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
One more question. When it comes to funding, you have some funders who have requirements on what types of organizations they'll fund, like how long you've been in business or how much you have, stuff like that. So how do you find organizations that are compatible with your company and where it's at, and maybe not necessarily where you're trying to go yet, but you're trying to get there? How do you get there?
Research.
Yeah, are you like what's your goal with that? You
Well, I
said-
think that I think is a big part of venture capital and funding, right? Like they want some type of proven track record, but you're trying to get the funding to get the track record.
So we can really speak to that because, as we mentioned, we didn't really know what we wanted to do in our space. 3,300 square feet. We got offices. We got warehouse in the back. But we, in the end, came up with a vision. We wrote our business plan. We were passionate, and that's all we needed to get an investor. That's literally it. We had a business plan, a passion, and the ability to network. That's
Also
it.
marketing, because our investors found us because they saw us all over social media. They heard people talking about what we were doing. And then they were like, okay, well, that's enough proof of work for us to understand that people are buying into their brand. So we want to invest in that so that we can.
They actually reached out to us.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we see what you guys are doing. Is there a possibility that, you know, you could use some dollars? And at the time, we're like, heck yeah, we could use some dollars.
Immediately.
Any live? Yes, sir.
Well, when you got these investors, how do you know how much percentage to give them on your business?
Yeah, so he was just touching on that.
Essentially, the way to avoid that pitfall is to make sure that you have a very, very good contract set in place before you receive that investment from them. And then also, like I said, have the pride that you should have in the business that you have created, to understand that, hey, listen, I'm not willing to give up this much money, because a lot of people see dollars and they're like, okay, well, listen, I like the money right now. Let me get all of that, no matter what the cost is. And that's an issue that we have a lot of times because of the fact that we don't really research the value of even ourselves and what we are providing. And so you eliminate that by the pride in your business, creating a contract.
Quick example, somebody could come to me right now, hey, I got 50,000 cash I want to inject into your business, but I want 51% ownership. At that point, I don't even own the business. They have taken over, they have majority ownership, which it could be fine if that's what, you know, if that's what I wanted to do. If I'm maybe a little older, I'm looking to step away, that may be cool. So you gotta know your plan, you gotta know your end goal. Are you looking to have a business evaluation and sell at the end? Are you looking to pass this business on to your kids, your grandkids? You know, you have to have that determined when you're talking to these investors.
Well, how different is that 51% versus 49%?
Majority ownership gets to be able to make the decisions for the business.
Is that still considered majority, 49%?
49%, no, 50% is, well, first of all, it depends on how many partners you have. So if it's just him and I, if we're splitting it 50-50, we have equal partnership. He becomes a majority owner when he goes to 51 and I come down to 49. And so he handles all the decisions for the business. I can add my input, but at the end of the day, he's the one that actually makes the decision. So it will split up differently if you have 4, 5, or 6 people that are currently owning your business, and then you break down the percentages. But whatever the majority of that breakdown would be, that person would be the majority owner of the business.
All right. Any
other
last
questions?
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
No,